the last 2 years, under the leadership of Governor Ubasani, the government has prioritized robust reforms, including the introduction of the Pay Kaduna portal and other online revenue collection channels. These initiatives have significantly improved revenue collection and enhanced efficiency. Post-El-Rufai era figures speaks for themselves. In 2023, Kaduna State recorded an IGR of 62.4 billion. And in 2024, the figure rose to 71 billion, an average monthly collection of 5.2 billion naira and 6.0 billion naira, respectively. Kaduna State led in IGR performance in northern Nigeria in 2023, as declared by the National Bureau of Statistics, and one of the leading subnational IRS nationwide, as the 2024 figures are still being vetted and verified by the National Bureau for Statistics.
Well, that's Mr. Jerry Adams, who is the executive chairman of the Kaduna State Internal Revenue Generation Service, addressing some claims that had been made by the former governor of the state, Nasir El-Rufai, in an interview which he had granted, alleging that the internally generated revenue in the state was beginning to drop. He said during his time it was about 7 billion naira, but that about now it is dropping to about 2 billion naira, and that 100 billion naira was allegedly being paid into the account of an unknown person. So Mr. Jerry Adams came out to debunk those allegations, saying that that could have been because the former governor did not have all of the facts. Well, this morning we're being joined by Mr. Ben Bako, who is the former Commissioner for Information and Home Affairs in Kaduna State, who also is a member of the People's Democratic Party. He'll be joining us shortly. Oh, yes, I can see him now. Good morning, Mr. Bako. Good to have you on the program. Shall I say Barka de Salah to you? We hope that you're having a good holiday. But this is the controversy that we're dealing with this morning, this controversy over internally generated revenue. You are a former commissioner for information in Kaduna State. Can you give us some insights into how information flows and whether you're also privy to this particular controversy?
Well, thank you very much.
Oh dear, it does appear that we cannot hear Mr. Bako. Mr. Bako, if you can perhaps go off video, we might be able to hear what it is that you're saying, because it does appear that we're experiencing some technical issues. But, okay, I think that he'll be going off video. Perhaps we'll be able to get him shortly. We'll keep working on that. But this is the controversy. It's no brainer now. I don't think it's any news that there's been friction between the former governor of Kaduna State and the current governor, who interestingly were very close allies. And it would seem that there's now been controversy around figures. We do know that the current governor of the state made some revelations around some mismanagement. We also remember that the House of Assembly in Kaduna State resorted to investigating the former governor over what they termed misappropriation of some funds. Payments were made to individuals, work was not carried out. The former governor of the state was not taking those allegations lying low. He came out very vociferously to defend his tenure in office. And part of what has now happened is some of these allegations and counter-allegations. You say something, the current governor of the state will say, no, that is not the current situation. And basically that back and forth has been on with regards to the politics of Kaduna. It's not been as strong as that of Rivers, but it's there low-lying and clearly a threat to the political, maybe not so much, but some people will say that Kaduna could be a very interesting state to watch out for with what has now transpired with the politics of the state, with the falling out of two erstwhile friends, in that particular state. But we continue to wait on Mr. Bako to see how it is that we can correct the technical issue that we're facing. We'll be back shortly to look at that particular matter. Please stay with us. Well, Mr. Ben Bako, it's good to have you join us this morning. Barka de Salah to you. I was just asking before you went off, if how the information flows in Kaduna State and whether you're still very much privy to some of the, the earnings of the internally generated revenue service.
Well, thank you very much. I'm a member of the PDP, the opposition party. I'm talking here as a citizen of Kaduna State and a stakeholder in the state who has been privileged to serve as a member of the State Executive Council. In any democratic setting, information dissemination has a structure through which information is being disseminated. But since the emergence of Malam Nasir El-Rufai as governor of Kaduna State, these structures were distorted. But as I speak to you now, I have no comprehensive knowledge of the internally generated revenue of Kaduna State. But as a stakeholder, I have a fair idea of what the trend of events are as far as IGR is concerned in Kaduna State. I wish to say at this point that what Nasir El-Rufai is embarking upon is an image redemption crusade. Otherwise, he has no moral qualification to point an accusing finger to the government of the day pertaining IGR or corruption. This is my take.
You say an image redemption. How do you mean?
You say at the moment, El-Rufai and his government is being alleged of corruption. And what I thought he should do now is to take measures to address this issue. Instead, he is putting up a fight to distract the government of the day from delivering on its campaign promises. This is what I mean by image redemption crusade. Otherwise, I don't understand where the accused person has suddenly become the accuser. This is what we are witnessing in Kaduna State.
I'm a little curious, because you say that, because you have said that you are a member of the People's Democratic Party, you are speaking as a citizen of the state. This, the former governor of the state is still a stakeholder, very much so, a stakeholder in the sense that not just was he governor of the state, he was also #1 citizen of the state for a while, so to speak. In other words, he would have been privy to some of the things that were happening in the state and perhaps still have information. So if he sees that things are not going well in the state, doesn't he have a right to speak up?
At this point, whatever would have qualified him to speak is not in his favor. He's the architect of whatever is happening in Kaduna State. Before the coming of El-Rufai, the IGR of Kaduna State is between 900 million to 1 billion, and at most 1.1 billion. El-Rufai came on board and instilled fear in the entire structure of the state and turned the state to a tax state where everybody is compelled to pay taxes even ahead of time. So in this situation, people were forced to pay tax justifiably and unjustifiably. And suddenly you have a jack of the revenue. This is the claim of El-Rufai, that he has brought about tremendous improvement in the internally generated revenue of the state. And after his tenure, he is now accusing the sitting government that the revenue generation has dropped drastically. which is total fallacy, because what the impression he has created when he came to power is that taxes are not being remitted, which is not true. The truth here is that El-Rufai has interest in creating a picture that do not exist, and he has survived through this. He knows how to use the media, and I think he has used it maximally to project his image. But that is not true when it comes to what is happening today.
Yeah, but as a member of the PDP, shouldn't that be of interest to you? Shouldn't you just wait and see how it is that, you know, people who were of the same party, you know, discredit themselves, and, you know, your party perhaps can rise on the back of that?
No. You see, when you are out of office, sometimes it is dangerous to speak about governance, because what you say may carry weight and may instigate people. I'm not here to instigate people, but he knows that what I'm saying is true, that in a state where you have subjected people to untold hardship, having survived 8 years of El-Rufai's terror, having survived 8 years of maladministration, having survived 8 years of administrative rascality, having survived 8 years of financial recklessness, I don't think he has the moral qualification to point an accusing finger to the present government, either on IGR or on corruption. This is my basis.
The point I'm making is that the two of them were in the same party. As a matter of fact, it was the former governor who brought this current governor as his successor and asked the people of Kaduna State to vote for him. So, yes, the former governor has now defected to the Social Democratic Party, but before that time, they were both in the same party. Shouldn't that be something that was considered an internal party affair that perhaps, you know, was put out for all to see?
That is to tell you that El-Rufai is not sincere. If you are bringing on board a person, you have confidence in his capacity. If you bring on board somebody, you have confidence in his pedigree, then you should have no reason now to accuse him of anything. If you allow me, my position here is that the present governor would have deviated from maybe the arrangement, or is not dancing to the tune of the former governor. Otherwise, you will not accuse a person you have told the public that you have confidence and has the capacity to provide leadership for Kaduna State.
Shouldn't that be to the advantage of the PDP? That's the question I'm asking.
Of course it is, but don't forget, we're not discussing politics now. We're talking about the people of Kaduna State. For any elected government to deliver on its campaign promises, it is largely determined by the size of resources at its disposal, having a combination of what comes from the federal allocation and what is internally generated in the state. So if we're talking about providing essential services to the state, it goes beyond politics. Ordinarily, it should be to my advantage as an opposition member. But what we are discussing is beyond opposition. It's about the survival, the corporate survival of the people of Kaduna State. And I'm concerned about the fact that what El-Rufai is doing is trying to distract this government. It takes someone with wisdom to be able to correct all the mess that El-Rufai has left in this state. But don't forget, as I speak to you, Kaduna is the second most indebted state, indebted state in the Federation. And when you look at the size of what El-Rufai claimed to have generated internally, monthly and annually, and what he collects from the federal allocation, then he has no reason whatsoever to secure or obtain a loan. But if you put together what he has generated internally and the loan he has taken for the state, when you look at it and the size of what he claimed to have done for the state is not commensurate to the quantum of what he has collected in terms of loan and what he has collected from the federal allocation, to execute such projects. So what this present government is facing today is an expression of the damage that has been incurred by the former administration under El-Rufai. So El-Rufai should have no reason to point an accusing finger to the present government, because what Ubasani is doing today is to cope with the mess that El-Rufai has left over, and he should be thankful to God that he's still free. Otherwise, if he had handed over to a government that is not of his party, he should have been in jail by now, not pointing an accusing finger to the present government. So this is my point. This is my take on it.
Well, indeed, Kaduna State does have a significant debt profile, but there are those who also argue that the governor of Kaduna State that's the former governor of Kaduna State, had significant projects to show in the state in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the work that was done, urbanizing, in urban renewal, doing roads, spent on health, infrastructure, spent on schools in the state, the school feeding program, which initiated, yes, I know that at some point I think I was abandoned, but there were all of these urban renewal projects that went on in Kaduna State. Are you saying that all of that, did not justify the amount of debts that the state gathered as a result of trying to, make sure that infrastructure was renewed in the state?
Anyone who believes El-Rufai on any matter stand the risk of going to hell. Anyone who believes El-Rufai, I can assure you.
Are you saying that is not a political statement?
Madam, listen to me. If you believe El-Rufai on any matter, and I repeat, on any matter, don't forget, one of the leaders of this country described him as a pathological liar. I'm sorry to use this. I'm quoting a leader of this country who had worked closely with him and has described him as a pathological liar. So anyone who believes El-Rufai on any matter stand the risk of going to hell, because
people can say,
100 things he will tell you.
Mr. Bako, I was not referring to what he said. I'm referring to what it is that was done in the state. I'm referring to the infrastructural improvements that were done in the state. Those do not lie, do they? This is
what I want to tell you. That when you look at the size or the quantum of what El-Rufai had at his disposal as a governor of Kaduna State, and the project he claims to have delivered for Kaduna State, there's no basis to claim that he has delivered. The roads entirely, if you put them together, they are less than 100-kilometer roads, and they are township roads within 2 local governments. The roads are there for you to see and assess. Experts can tell you the length of the roads, the quality of the roads, and how much will be required to put such roads in place. The rural areas have no impact and have no experience of governance of the 8 years El-Rufai had led Kaduna State.
Can I then ask you, what was the basis of his re-election in the first, because you just made reference to 8 years, what was the basis of his re-election, and what was the basis of his party being elected again?
You don't live in Kaduna. When you say election, ask him, can he swear with the Quran that he won the election? Can he swear with the Quran that he won the election? We're not talking, Madam, we're not talking about election. When people elect people, there are certain factors that in the Nigerian context can declare somebody a winner of an election. So it's not a basis for an argument.
Well, we do know that this controversy has not been put to bed yet. I mean, certainly, for those for where these initial figures came out from, I do know that I believe that there will still be some, setting straight. But we have to thank you for coming on the program. We're totally out of time, Mr. Bako, I'm afraid. I'm so sorry. Mr. Ben Bako is a former commissioner for Information and Home Affairs in Kaduna State, and also, as he said, a member of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me, please.
Well, we've come to the end of the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Maupe Ogun Yusuf.
Well, there is quite some content on X that you might want to check out. I'm Aya Makinde. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.